After you have finished all of the stitching on your bag, you want to take and trim off the excess linen so it's 1/2 inch outside of your back stitched area on all 4 sides, and then go ahead and finger press along the back stitched area along the sides and the bottom. Take your bag, fold it in half, make a mark at the center, and then also make a mark halfway between the edge and the center. Those are for putting your tassels on. So for the tassels, you want to take 2 lengths of number 4 braid, each 36 inches long, twist and fold it to create a twisted cord. Cut the tassels off the trim, but do not cut the loop at the top of the tassel. So what you want to do is slip the tassel on, have your knot at the end. So I have my knot at the end here. So you slip a tassel onto the cord, and about 2 inches down, tie a knot. Just a little bit away from that, tie another knot. Slip another onto your gold twisted cord. 2 inches from that, tie another knot. About 1/4 of an inch, tie another knot. Slip the third and final tassel onto the cord, and then tie a knot at the end. So you end up with 3 tassels with knots in between. And then you go ahead and cut them between the knots. So you end up with a short length of cord with a tassel at the end, and this cord goes through this tiny loop on the tassel. Then you take the cord here, place it at the mark, and then go ahead and whip stitch it to the seam allowance on the inside, and all you want to see is just a tiny bit of this cord and the free hanging loop for the tassel. And you do that at all 3 places here. After you've done that, then you go ahead and take your bag, fold it in half, and whip stitch in those back stitches around this side and across the bottom. This side you will have done the either double running or back stitch row that you've whipped into. So your bag ends up looking like this. So this edge, this is the double running or back stitch with it whipped, and this is the line where I have sewn those 2 back stitches together there and along the bottom to fasten the tassels in. After you have done that, then you want to start on your lining for the inside. So some of the bags didn't have lining. They actually stitched the bag and then they just poked holes in the bag itself to put the drawstring in. But I have chosen to put a lining in, and historically some of them did have linings. So take the piece of lining fabric, fold it so that it's 7 inches wide and 12 inches long. You want to make marks 3 inches down from the top, and I just clipped mine. Just do a running stitch down here, fasten it off, leave about 1/2 inch, do a running stitch all the way to the bottom, and then you repeat for the other edge down here to not quite 3 inches, leave a gap at the 3-inch mark, and then all the way down to the bottom. You can go ahead at this point and clip that folded edge, and then take this and then do a running stitch along the bottom. Now take your bag and fold it down at the 3-inch mark. And then press it. And make sure that your seam allowances are open along your sides. And that little opening that you have here is right at the fold. When you get to this point, you want to make the little crowns that are at the top of the bag. These are little folded or knotted pieces that were inserted into that opening at the top of the bag, one on each side. To do the crowns, you take 8 strands of number 4 braid, each 36 inches long, twist to make a folded cord, and then fold the cord in half and tie knots in the center and cut. So you have a piece about this long. Go ahead and fold in the center again, and then make a mark or put a pin in at the center. Go ahead and fold it here, and so you want to take and wrap some number 4 cord from the pin up about 3/4 of an inch. Fasten it off, and then go ahead and fold this so that from the fold to the top here is about an inch long. And then go ahead and just stitch this together right here at the bottom, and then cut off these excess cords, but make sure you leave enough to stitch it in. So you want to cut about a 1/2 inch below where it's folded right here. Take this, insert it into the opening of the bag at the fold, and then whip stitch it to the seam allowances along the side. So in your bag that you're working on, you have the opening here. You stick those little tail ends here, and so the crown sticks up above it. So even though I'm not going to stick it in, it ends up looking like this. At this point, you want to make a cord for the bag handle. Take 6 strands of the number 5 pearl cotton, each 72 inches long, and 4 strands of the number 4 braid, twist it and form a cord. You should end up with about 26 inches of cord, and cut and wrap the ends to secure. Then you want to take that cord and you want to also insert it into the opening here, and then tack it to the seam allowance along the side. So I've ended up with, in this opening, I have the crown in here tacked, and then also my handle. Historically, a lot of these handles were finger woven braid, but I have chosen to use the twisted cord that matches the other cords for our bag. Now that you have the handle and the crowns, you take your bag, flatten it out, and then you have a diagram here. So you end up with, this is about 6 inches long. You make marks about 1/2 inch in, and then you make another 4 marks equidistant, and this is about between 1 inch and 7/8 of an inch here. So you end up 6 marks on this side and 6 marks on the other side. And so measure down about 3/8 of an inch from your edge, and I just went ahead and I drew a small circle that's not quite a 1/4 inch in diameter. Use 2 strands of the 103 silk and do a little running stitch around that hole, and then go ahead and clip just the inside all the way to that pencil line or pen line, but not all the way to your running stitch. And then go ahead and make an eyelet all the way around, so you end up with eyelet, an even eyelet, and you'll want to do 12 of those around the top of your bag. After you have finished, you have the crowns in, you have the handle on, you have those eyelet holes. You'll take your lining, mark it about 1/2 inch up along here, just with pins or something. You fold your seam allowance on the bag itself down so it's right along your back stitch edge, and then you insert your bag lining into the bag so that your marks and your back stitches are together, and then you go ahead and whip stitch those back stitches to the bag all the way around. After you have done that, then you want to make the drawstrings. take number 5 pearl cotton and the number 4 braid. You want to cut it 54 inches long. Cut 3 lengths of pearl cotton and 1 strand of the number 4 and twist and fold to create a cord. And repeat with the other 3 of pearl cotton and the 1 of braid. If you want to, you may want to cut that down so you're only using 2 pieces of pearl cotton and 1 piece of number 4 in each cord. This cord right here is 3 strands of pearl cotton and 1 strand of braid, and this one is 2 pieces of pearl cotton and 1 strand of braid. It's a little bit smaller. I used the 3 and 1. I think the 2 and 1 might be a little bit better. It's a little tiny bit smaller and it will pull more easily. After you have created those twisted cords, then you take the folded end of your cord, thread it into a large-eyed blunt needle, and then you, starting at one of these edges, insert it in and weave it in and out all the way around until it comes back out right here. You repeat that for the other cord, but you start on the other side, weave it in and out, sharing the holes and making sure that the cords go under and over in the same places. So at this point you now have 2 cords, and so that you can actually pull your bag closed that way. Now on the end of the cord here, you now you'll end up with 2 cords that are together like this. Take a length of the same size of the gold that you made for the tassels at the bottom. You only need a little short length. What you want to do is about this far from the end. You want to thread one of your tassels onto this cord and then go ahead and tie it here really tightly, and then so your tassel is hanging down here and your cord is right here. You'll fold your cord like this and then wrap it here so it covers this end, and then you can cut off these knots. And I would put a few stitches under here to secure this so it's not going to come loose. So you end up with the fold of your drawstring cord here, the little gold cord here that fastens your tassel, and then it's wrapped to cover up that end. And then when you have finished that, then your bag is finished.